All right, everyone, it is 6 o'clock right on the dot. So we're going to get started this evening. I'm going to pass you over to my wonderful co-host, Abby Rose Arnold.
Good evening, folks. Welcome. Thanks for joining us tonight here at our virtual applicant reception with Lakehead University. So we're going to talk all things. Feel free to ask questions. I'm going to just snip to the next slide there. We're just going to talk about using Zoom. So there is a function just at the bottom of your screen there. There's going to be a Q&A function. So during the presentation, feel free to click that, ask any questions. There will be a portion where we might be able to answer it live, but also direct answer it. So just making sure that you're not asking anything extremely inappropriate, that these are public and that this is being recorded today. So if you do have any questions, please feel free just to drop them in that chat box down below.
So hi everyone, my name is Taylor Reimer. I'm a recruitment officer here at Lakehead University, and I also lead the college and university transfer lead. I will be co-hosting tonight with Abby, and I think my next slide, Abby, is ready for you to introduce yourself. Over to
you. So like we mentioned, my name's Abby Arnold. I'm a recruitment officer here at Lakehead University based out of Thunder Bay, but I do recruit for both Aurelia and Thunder Bay at Lakehead. So you can email me here at recruit@lakeheadu.ca. You can also scan this QR code, take a picture, save it for later. That way, if you have any questions in the near future, feel free to email us and we can definitely direct those emails back at you. So I guess without further ado, before we begin, I would just like to start off with some land acknowledgements. So Lakehead University respectfully acknowledges its campuses are located on the traditional lands of the Indigenous people. Lakehead Thunder Bay is located on the traditional lands of the Fort William First Nation, signatory to the Robinson Superior Treaty of 1850. Lakehead Aurelia is located on the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe. The Anishinaabe include the Ojibwe, the Odawa, the Potawatomi nations, collectively known as the Three Fires Confederacy. Lakehead University acknowledges the history that many nations hold in the areas that surround our campuses and is committed to relationship with First Nation, Métis, and Inuit peoples based on principles of mutual trust, respect, reciprocity, and the collaboration of spirits and reconciliation. So jumping into a little bit more about why Lakehead. So we have 90% of our classes are actually 60 students or less, which is super important for that smaller classroom size, that dynamic, as well as that our university is actually one of Canada's top 10 universities, according to the Maclean's magazine in 2001. So that's very exciting for us. And then we just have a few more campus facts for you. So this is one of my favorite topics to kind of talk about because money talks. But we have about $11 million in scholarships and bursaries that we give out on an annual basis. So every single year we give out $11 million to our students. So with only about 8,500 students, that's actually a lot of allotment for each student to get some sort of scholarship or bursary, whatever that is. So just make sure that you apply for them in the upcoming months if you haven't already. We also have about 65 plus programs. So it's super important. Again, there's so much opportunity here at Lakehead, different faculties that you can get involved in, but we also have a 97.7% employment rate within the first 2 years of graduation, which is actually above the provincial standard. So kind of keeping that in mind as well, that not only do you get a quality education here, but you are also in that percentile to be employed within 2 years of graduation, which is super fantastic. So, and then moving on about our campuses. So we do have 2 campuses, actually kind of a third. So we have our Thunder Bay campus, which is going to be our bigger campus, about 6,500 students. We also have Aurelia. Aurelia is going to be more down south, closer to Toronto in the GTA area with about 1,500 students. So it is smaller, a little bit newer. And then we also have a program partnership with Georgian College in Barrie. So again, down south, Southern Ontario area. And kind of to put that in perspective for you, here's kind of a little bit of a map. So Thunder Bay borders Duluth, Minnesota, but we're also on top of Lake Superior. So we are a little bit more of a northwestern Ontario town. And then Aurelia is going to be closer between like Toronto and Sudbury area. And again, that being the smaller campus. So that's kind of depicted in a little bit of a map for you, just so you can see that there. But jumping right into Lakehead Thunder Bay. So again, we are home to the sleeping giant. So you'll see in the bottom left-hand corner, that is a picture of our sleeping giant. It's an arrangement of mountains to kind of obviously look like a sleeping giant. And it is the bigger of the campus of the two campuses. And then in the bottom right-hand corner, you saw people playing hockey on a pond. And so we have Lake Tamblyn. You can kind of see in that bottom right-hand picture right there. So in the wintertime, that'll actually freeze up. And then on campus, people will play pond hockey. So it's kind of cool. So yeah, this is our bigger campus here. Top left-hand corner picture is actually our building of our ATAC. So really gorgeous space to study and learn. But again, going back to the bottom left-hand corner, really widespread campus, which is super great. Lots of greenery on campus. Like I've mentioned, we have a lake and a river. We have about 7,000 to 8,500 students at this campus, kind of fluctuates throughout the years. But we also have a 15-to-1 ratio. So you're probably wondering, what the heck does that mean? So 15-to-1 ratio means 15 students to 1 faculty member, which is super important. Again, for that smaller classroom size dynamic, you're going to get to know your profs one-on-one. They're going to get to know you by name. And then, vice versa. It just makes for a better working relationship throughout your 4 years of university here. We do have a lake and a river on campus, 65 plus degree programs, as well as 100 acres of our campus space. So our population has grown a little bit. We have 100 to 13,000 people here in Thunder Bay. About 7 shopping districts. So even though we are a little bit far north, we do have lots of shopping. And again, like I've mentioned, we are bordering with Minnesota as well. So if you like to travel, I would definitely recommend it. We have about 3 major airlines that fly into Thunder Bay, being Porter, WestJet, and Air Canada, and most recently Flair. The nice thing about Flair is that usually you can catch a flight, which is only $49. So if your parents wanted to come, if they live in Southern Ontario and you wanted to come to Thunder Bay for the weekend, they can literally a $49 flight one way is not terrible. So we are also the sunshine capital. So we have about 305 days of sunshine per year, which is great. But enough about Thunder Bay. I'm going to kind of toss it over to Taylor, and she can talk a little bit more about Aurelia because she's actually from there. So
yeah, awesome, Abby. So as Abby mentioned, Aurelia is the smaller of our 2 campuses, and it's the newer of our 2 campuses. So it was built in 2006. And in the realm of university worlds, 2006 is very, very new for a university campus. You can see some pictures of the Aurelia waterfront on your screen here tonight, and it's super amazing because Aurelia is really the gateway to Muskoka Cottage Country up here, which is awesome if you're a person who enjoys outdoor sports or hanging out at the cottage or going to a cabin. That kind of fun stuff is super big part of the culture up here. Aurelia itself is surrounded by 2 lakes, Lake Couchiching and Lake Simcoe. Our Aurelia campus has about 1,500 students, and that translates into a ratio of 13 students to every 1 professor, which, as Abby mentioned with our Thunder Bay campus, is super helpful for students as you're going through classes to be able to develop that relationship with their professors, where the professor not only knows their name, you're never a student number at Lakehead, but also knows what you're interested in, what your passions are, maybe what you wrote your last essay on, which again is a great thing when it comes time to apply to graduate school or professional school, or maybe your first big job after university, to have a professor in your corner to write those reference letters, to give you those recommendations, to help you network, all of that good stuff. On our Aurelia campus, we also have residents, and like our Thunder Bay campus, you will be guaranteed a single room. We're going to talk more about that soon. And what I love about our Aurelia campus is you absolutely cannot get lost. So if you're living in residence and you have a 8 a.m. lecture, you can get up at 7:50, grab a coffee, change your clothes, and make it to your lecture on time. The campus itself, you can walk from one end to the other in about 2 minutes, which is super helpful for people like me who are chronically running late. A big part of the Lakehead experience is student support. And this is something that we have invested as a university a lot of time, energy, and money into developing. So when you come to Lakehead, you know that there will be people in your corner advocating for you throughout your university career. One of the places this really goes down is in our Student Success Center, which deals with things like academic tutoring, group tutoring, peer tutoring, and academic success. We also have student health and wellness on both campuses. And as part of student health and wellness, we offer a ton of health promotion programming, wellness programming, and resilience building programming, which really sets you up for success physically and mentally as you're going through university. Mental health and counseling services are available on both campuses. And on both campuses, we also have doctors, nurses, naturopathic doctors, chiropractors, etc., regularly with appointments available on campus to make sure that you are staying healthy and taken care of so that you can do your best in class. Student accessibility services are going to be your point of contact if you have a visible or invisible disability, whether that be long or short term, and they help advocate for you as you go throughout your university career. Indigenous services are also available on both campuses, and not only do they run educational programming, but they also run a ton of different amazing cultural events. They regularly have elders on campus to offer advice and guidance and career counseling as our Indigenous students go throughout their university career. Another really awesome thing about going to a mid-sized university like Lakehead is your ability to do international exchange programs. International exchange programs are a big part of the Lakehead experience, and generally we ask students to plan to do an international exchange in their 3rd year. So when you're coming on campus this year in September, many of you will be 1st-year students. It's a great thing to start thinking about that international exchange in 3rd year and identifying yourself to the international exchange coordinator so you can start planning, you can start getting everything ready. A really awesome thing about exchanges at Lakehead is that you keep paying domestic tuition to Lakehead. So there's not a huge jack up in prices to go and study a semester overseas. You know, where can you do a semester abroad? Well, at this point, it's probably easier to tell you what countries you can't do an international exchange in, because there are so many global partners that allow us to do exchange programs with them here at Lakehead. So the theme of tonight is welcoming you as applicants and making sure that you have all the tools in your toolbox, all the questions answered, so you can really hit the ground running in the next few months. So many of us might be at the stage where you've applied and you are waiting for an offer. So let's talk a little bit about what your next steps could look like. So Ontario high school students, your guidance counselor will submit updated grades to us automatically. And if you're an out-of-province high school student, request that your high school send new grade information to Lakehead directly via email or mail. And please have them include your full name and Lakehead student number in the email if possible. Summer courses are sometimes something that a lot of our students coming from high school are completing, or maybe you're trying to bump up grades, whatever that may be. We're going to need you to submit proof of enrollment to Lakehead University, and then we're going to request that an official transcript be sent to Lakehead once your courses are complete. So that's really important to know. And all of these things help ensure that your application is complete, that we have all the necessary information about the courses you've taken well in high school on your file, so that when we offer you that admissions letter or that conditional admissions letter, we know all about you. Then we move on to the next kind of fun step, which is hopefully accepting your offer. So your offer will come into your My Info account, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that tonight. But if you're a person who's taking notes, you can write down My Info. That's going to be a theme this evening. So step one, once you get that admissions letter, is review all of your offers and conditions. This is very important. You want to make sure that you completed everything that needs to be completed, and you're aware of any averages or final grades needed to be fully received into Lakehead in the fall. So an example of an offer might be that you must complete all of your registered courses and maintain a 70% average or higher. Hopefully that's all kind of stuff we already knew, but just in case, that might be a condition that you see coming up in your offer of admissions. Another example might be that you must connect with an academic advisor, understand the deadlines of your offer, all of that kind of good stuff. Step two is then going to be to accept your offer of admissions. On your My Info account, it will link you to your Ontario University Application Center account, or your OYAC. Everyone seems to pronounce it differently. So however you have heard it, that is where it's going to direct you to accept your offer. And then step three is going to be to verify your acceptance by logging into My Info. And on there, you can track your application status, all of that good stuff. Step four is going to be to submit your confirmation deposit. And this is money that goes towards your tuition, but that deposit is what really guarantees your spot at Lakehead. So each of these steps are important in and of themselves, but we really need to have all four completed for you to officially accept your offer. To pay that confirmation deposit, you're going to be logging onto My Info, and you can pay it online, which is again awesome. This is a great screenshot. If you're not familiar with this page, I would totally recommend checking it out this evening or in the coming days, but this is your My Info account. When you log onto My Info, you're going to see these phases written out. So you'll see phase one, phase two, phase three. So phase one is that pre-admissions checklist that we kind of just talked about. We kind of went through most of it. Phase two is going to be your after admissions checklist. So things like how to accept your offer, how to pay your deposit, how to apply to residence, all that good stuff. And phase three is pre-registration, so registering for courses. I have a pretty helpful slide here. If, like me, you're trying to squint at that last slide with My Info information. But you can see here on your phase one pre-admissions checklist, it's going to be check my application status. So that's what we were talking about earlier. Pardon me, making sure all of your necessary documents are submitted. Step two is going to be viewing any of your outstanding documents. Some of you might have requests for outstanding documents. They could be things like an English language assessment. They could be things like certain grades or courses that you need to complete. All of that will be in this pre-admissions checklist. If you're not seeing any outstanding documents, don't sweat. That probably means we've got everything we need from you. And then step three in phase one is going to be uploading those documents. So a lot of this stuff is very user-friendly and simple once you get started going through it. I know right now it can seem overwhelming because we're going to ask a lot of you, but just know that if you have questions after tonight, you can reach out to any of us in the recruitment team, or you can reach out directly to Student Central, and there will be people in your corner able to help you along your way. So as Abby mentioned at the beginning, if you have any questions this evening, please feel free to be using that Q&A function. Abby's behind the scenes manning it. And don't hesitate to ask anything. I will also add to that, if you have a super specific or nuanced question that you don't feel comfortable putting in the chat, please do take advantage of emailing us at Recruit or emailing Student Central to get that specific answer for your case-by-case scenario. Now let's talk a little bit about finance. So Lakehead is very, very committed to making education not only accessible, but also affordable. And as such, we give away over $11 million in scholarships and bursaries every year. So a few of the big key scholarships that I want to make sure you're aware of is our presidential scholarship, which you can find more details about on our website, but the deadline is coming up for it. Our Specialist High Skills Major Award. So if you're doing a Specialist High Skills Major at high school right now, sometimes high schools will call them things like SHSM or SHISM or SHIJAM. Shazam. There seems to be a different name at every high school I visit, which is always fun to hear people's like creative variations on it. But if you're doing one of those, you can get $500 from Lakehead, which is super awesome. If you're a varsity athlete, you probably have already started a conversation with the coach of that team, but do know that athletic scholarships are available. And if you're a child of an alumni, so if your parents went to Lakehead, there's also money on the table for you. Entrance scholarships. Now, some of you might already know that you're getting an entrance scholarship. If not, it'll be coming in the next little while. But if you have an 80% average or higher, we start sending money your way. And this money will be detailed in an offer letter to you. You don't have to apply to it. It is automatically added to your account. So you don't have to worry about doing an additional application or filling out a fun essay about you or anything like that. So if you have an average between 80% and 90%, there's money on the table for you. And to get that money every year, you need to keep your average above an 80 once you're at Lakehead. If you have a 95 or over, you can get free tuition at Lakehead, and you can keep getting free tuition every year if you keep your average above a 90. Now, those are some of the scholarships that Lakehead offers, but we also have a ton of other scholarship and funding opportunities available to you. If you go onto the My Awards profile, which will be coming available to you, I believe on August 15th, you will be able to see a ton of different scholarships from Lakehead and from other companies, organizations, Government of Canada throughout Ontario and Canada that you can apply for. I always like to remind students that most scholarship, award, and bursary money in Ontario goes unclaimed every year. So if you think you might sort of qualify for something, please go ahead and try to apply to it on the My Awards profile, because you never know what could happen. It always can be more money in your pocket. It is completely in the realm of possibility that you could fund your entire education with scholarship, award, and bursary money. It's just on you to apply and secure that money. So again, the My Awards profile will be opening up soon. I recommend checking it in the spring, summer every year, and in the fall as well too, as new scholarships, awards, and bursaries become available, which is super cool. Though there will be a link to the My Awards profile on your My Info account. Now, again, if you have any questions specifically pertaining to Lakehead financing opportunities, please go ahead and ask Abby. Ask Abby now. Abby, are there any outstanding questions that we can go ahead and answer now?
Yeah, I can go through a couple of them. So one of them said, is the presidential scholarship deadline, according to the website, is it still going on? Is the presidential scholarship deadline has passed according to the website? Is it still going on? Yeah, so it was April 25th. So that is no longer available. But definitely make sure to apply for that next year because it is such an incredible scholarship. And then do the rooms have their own bathrooms? So for the residents in Aurelia, you share a bathroom with your canmate. So you have your own separate private bedroom, but you have a Jack and a Jill bathroom. So you're sharing a bathroom with one other person in Aurelia. And then here in Thunder Bay, first year residents, you're sharing a bathroom with your house. So usually there's anywhere between 5 to 7 people in a house. So then you'd be sharing like 3 toilets and 2 showers amongst 5 to 7 of you. Couple more questions I can kind of go through. So how does choosing your courses work like electives? When does this happen? So you can actually find your program on the academic course calendar. So if you want to go to our website, you're going to scroll down all the way to the bottom of the website. And there's going to be a link there. It says academic course calendar. You're going to want to click on that. It's going to bring you to a different page. And then you're going to click on undergraduate programs on the left-hand side. Then you're going to find your undergraduate program. So depending if you're in nursing, forestry, whatever that program may be, you're going to want to find that under each faculty. Select your program, say it's forestry, you're going to select forestry, and then it's actually going to give you a breakdown of year 1, year 2, year 3, and year 4. So it's going to show you all of the core courses, like the mandatory courses that you need to take for year 1. Once you have those course codes written down, it's also going to give you a list of electives. So electives A, B, C, D, and I believe E. So it'll outline in that what type of electives you can have. So Taylor, if you might want to help me with this, there was a question that said, where can I find all of the elective courses available on the Aurelia campus?
Yeah, so I would say, Abby, with the particular questions around course registration, I think it would be best if students reach out directly to Student Central, pardon me, just so that they can work through the nuances of each of their programs. And if we happen to have any transfer students on the call, that adds a different level of things to be considering. So I would say if you have any very specific questions like that around electives or around program requirements, it would be best to reach out to Student Central. Their email is, and Abby, maybe you can pop it in the chat, but I believe it's just studentcentral@lakeheadu.ca.
Yeah, absolutely. I can do that now. So yeah, there's a few more questions, but do you want me to keep going or did you want to continue with the presentation?
Are they ones we think a lot of students would have, or are they specific?
This one is pretty, yeah. So this one says, I noticed for housing, it's a $600 down payment, but OSAP is still unavailable. Should it be done up front or register once OSAP is available? So if you are a first year student, our deadline is June 1st to apply to guarantee your housing. So I would recommend paying that $600 up front. If you can, hopefully your mom and dad, siblings, someone can help you out with that money. But yeah, putting that $600 down payment is actually really important because it guarantees your spot first year residents that you don't have to panic or worry. And then OSAP will kick in later and kind of help cover the rest of the costs. But great question.
Yeah, and Abby, honestly, I think that's a perfect segue. Our next few slides are actually about residents. And I think about 3 more slides after that, we'll have another question period. But why don't I jump in and give you a break, Abby, so that you can type back to them and we can talk a little bit about residents in the meantime. So as we mentioned at the beginning, residence is available on both campuses. And it's also guaranteed for any students coming directly from high school. So as long as you get all of your information, your application, and that deposit in by that June 1st deadline, you're going to be guaranteed a space in residence, which is super helpful. You're not going to be having to worrying, not going to have to be worrying about finding a place to live in August or something when you find out that you don't have a room on residence. You are guaranteed, which is amazing. Residence is a really awesome experience, and I completely recommend it to anybody who is able to try and live on residence at least for your first year. There's a whole bunch of statistics about it, and I believe our Residence Life does a really great job of illustrating them on our website. But students who live on residence in their first year and even later on in their academic career, not only fare better academically, but they're also more likely to complete their degree and be successful afterwards. So really, really recommend. Bit of an overview of residence. Residence has meal plans available on both campuses. So you're not going to have to be worrying about getting groceries or maybe even learning how to cook in your first year. That dining hall and that meal plan will take very good care of you. Our Residence Life team is very focused on creating a residence experience that is a home away from home, especially at our Thunder Bay campus, where a lot of students might not be local to the Thunder Bay area. Maybe they're flying in from the GTA. It is a huge priority of our Residence Life staff to make sure you feel welcome, to make sure there's somebody in your corner that you can ask for help, to ask for assistance doing maybe laundry for the first time by yourself, whatever it might be, and making sure that you're staying social and active and engaged in campus life. We've, I believe, already mentioned the last two things, which is that your single room is guaranteed. All of our rooms in residence at Lakehead are single rooms, so it's a very easy guarantee for us to make to you. But this is a really super nice thing because you're not going to have to worry about somebody who's, notoriously watching Netflix till 4 a.m. every morning on full blast. You can have your own private space. And when you're ready to socialize, you can come out into the common areas. And again, as we already mentioned, residence is guaranteed for students coming directly from high school. So this is a bit of a picture, and there's a nice little aerial view of a residence room in Thunder Bay. So again, residence single room. And you have on our Thunder Bay campus for students coming directly from high school, you'll be in a dorm style room in our Berkeley residence, which is kind of similar to probably what you've seen of residence in movies and that kind of stuff. It is a single room. There's a communal bathroom, and there's a bunch of different rooms along the hallway. So again, when you're ready to be social, when you're ready to have fun and engage with people, community is right there. For upper year students, we also have townhouses and apartments available, again with single room and then shared kitchen and bathrooms with smaller groups of people, which is really nice. So a bit of an overview of Thunder Bay. Dorm style residence hall with basic single residence options. There's a skating rink outside, as Abby mentioned. There's woods and a river running behind the campus. So it's a very nice experience when you're studying because you can really retreat into nature after a lecture or after a tough exam. It's right there. Forest therapy is a real thing, and you can relax and be in the beauty of Northern Ontario nice and quickly. And you're also a 5-minute walk to the Agoria, which is truly our heart of campus, which is a really nice thing. If you want to chat with somebody, you can go over there quickly. If you need to meet with a professor after class or go to office hours, you're really close and everything is super commutable in that sense. There are meal plan options that include the all you can eat or all you care to eat buffet and declining balance cards. Switching over to Aurelia, we only have one type of residence in Aurelia. All students are guaranteed a single room again here, and a little bit different than the style of Thunder Bay, but you have a shared bathroom between you and the person who has the room beside you in Aurelia. Oftentimes, they're referred to as can mates because you're sharing the can with them. And it's a nice kind of like soft way of having a roommate. You definitely have someone to hang out with that first orientation week, kind of ready-made friend, but you don't have to deal with the constantness of having a roommate. We typically try and pair similar students together. So you'll take a bit of a quiz about your personality. So we will pair night owls with night owls, early risers with early risers for can mates, messy people with other messy people, or clean people with other clean people, all of that good stuff. So you can have some peace of mind about who you'd be sharing a bathroom with. If you are coming to campus with a friend or somebody maybe that you've met at one of our orientation, pre-orientation events, maybe you met somebody at an in-person applicant reception or March break or whatever that you want to share a can with, you can request them specifically on your residence application. Again, another quick little overview of the benefits of living on campus in Aurelia. Like I kind of already mentioned, single rooms with shared washrooms, but another really nice thing is that we have a skating rink right outside the doors of residence and a fitness room downstairs. So if you like to stay active, you definitely can. 2-minute walk to all of your classes, the library, and to the dining hall. And the meal plan options include the all-you-care-to-eat buffet and declining balances on your cards. So you might be wondering, how do we apply to residence? Abby, can we just pop the correct dates in for the application and payment deadline? That is going to be June 1st, 2023. But to apply to residence, you're going to log into your My Info account. That was the account we were talking about earlier. And there will be a tab that you can hit to apply to residence, and then it will ask you to pay that residence down payment, which is what truly secures your spot. Here again is a kind of close-up shot of the page on My Info. So it's going to be under phase 2 admissions. It's going to be, the first step is going to be to apply to residence, and the second is going to be to pay your residence deposit.
I'm just going to jump in here real quick. I'm so sorry. Okay, so I actually have a question about this. So I just want to let you know, sometimes we're having, like right now, we're having trouble with our payment system. It's down and then it's up and then it's down. So some people are having trouble trying to pay their $600 residence deposit. I would highly recommend, you can actually go to your bank and do it through your bank. So you would set up Lakehead University as a payee, and then your account number would be your student number. So I'm just trying to actually type this out right now, one of the questions, but it's universal for everybody to know this because people are having trouble. So if you are having trouble paying it online through our website, you can just set up at the bank as Lakehead University as a payee. And then just submitting the $600 that way it's reflected on your student account. And then we are constantly checking our systems for applicants to see, cross-referencing like who's being paid. But if you also are having issues and you want to contact residents directly, I'm going to put the link on the chat. So basically you can reach out to them, either call them or email them, just saying, hi, my name is so-and-so. I, went to the bank. I put my $600 deposit down. Can you accept my application? So sometimes, yeah, so I just wanted to kind of throw that out there. I know it's a lot of information. It's kind of convoluted right now, but if you have not done so, and you're having troubles, go to the bank, put that $600 down. It will reflect in your student account. And then that way, you will be submitted, your application will be submitted before June 1st, and you will have guaranteed housing.
Thank you, Abby. That is super important. And I forgot to make a note to talk about that today. So thank you for jumping in. And I think Abby mentioned that she's going to work to put that in the Q&A as well too. So if you haven't already paid your residence deposit, check the Q&A and Abby will give you those updated instructions. Another very important thing for us to talk about is buying parking passes. Whether you're, oh, my screen is now freezing. There we go. Whether you're a student who is planning on chiefly commuting to Lakehead, or if you're a student who's planning on living in residence with a car, you'll need to know this. So parking passes are available in both Thunder Bay and Aurelia. Parking passes in Thunder Bay, based on last year's prices, range from $242 to $274 for the school year, which is a really good deal. And parking passes in Aurelia range from $200 to $328, again for the school year. And parking passes are sold online by security at Lakehead, and they're expected to go on sale in August of every year. I will say, if you are a student who's planning on commuting, who really needs to make sure that they have a parking pass, keep checking back on that security website in August and make sure you can get a parking pass, because they go very quickly in Aurelia, which is important to know. So Abby, do we have any other questions about residents and parking passes, or have we covered most? Just wondering if we should break for more questions, or if I should keep going.
Not right at the moment. But yeah, so I don't think we have any, sorry, I don't think we have any questions right now. So yeah, I'm going to tell you to keep going, and then we will come back for questions at the very end.
Okay, awesome. So we've kind of covered what you need to be doing from now, which is mid-May, to the end of June, July. We're now going to talk specifically about those things you need to be doing in July, August, September to make sure you are ready to rock come September. And one of those very important things is registering for courses. I know many of you were very eager and already asking questions about that. Don't worry, we are going to take a little bit of a more slow walkthrough of registration for courses now. And again, if you have any questions, which I'm sure you do, because this is the part I find for a lot of students that can feel a little overwhelming, feel free to be popping those questions into the Q&A. So first things first, when it comes to registering for your courses, is making sure that you know your program requirements. So I believe Abby mentioned this already, but your program requirements are going to be found in the academic calendar under your program. To see that, you can go onto the Lakehead U website. You can click on your program. You'll see it, and then it'll have a link which says the specific program you're in. So for example, if you're in a bachelor's of commerce or bachelor's of business, you'd go under the business tab on the Lakehead website. And then on the side, you're going to see the specific degree that you're going for, whether it's our bachelor's of business administration or our honors bachelor of commerce accounting or honors bachelor's of commerce marketing, what have you. You'll click on the specific one and it'll link you to the academic calendar. Most programs at Lakehead are going to require you to complete 5 courses each semester. Some might have a bit more. Sometimes we find nursing has a heavier course load, and engineering, maybe even kinesiology sometimes, but again, very dependent. So make sure you're checking that academic calendar. Most courses at Lakehead are worth 0.5 credit, meaning you will be completing 5 credits each year. So this can be a little confusing to incoming students, but it'll be 5 courses a semester. Each of those will likely be about 0.5 worth of credits. And then you'll have 5 total credits, but 10 courses every year for the programs that are kind of more typical. And every program has a list of requirements that must be met. So some of them are going to require that you take specific courses. Some are going to require that you take courses chosen from a list of courses. So it'll say something like one of English 101, English 102, what have you, that kind of stuff. So make a very detailed reference sheet for yourself and really make sure you're understanding that academic calendar as you prepare to register for courses. An example of this could be kind of like you need 0.5 credits from a humanity course, and they're referred to as a type A course. Some requirements can be fulfilled with any course at Lakehead, and some of these will be referred to specifically as electives, and that kind of gives you the freedom to choose what you want to study, what you're interested in that semester, that kind of stuff. Minors and certificates are usually completed using elective courses. So if you're doing a minor or a certificate, that means that you might have less electives than somebody who is not doing one. So again, be mindful of that. Teachables. For our Bachelor's of Education students, a teachable is any course you take at Lakehead that can go to a teachable. And sorry, I feel like I just explained teachable by using the word teachable, so that wasn't very helpful. But a teachable is the subject that you would instruct in a school environment. For example, if you want to be an English and history teacher, English and history would be your teachables. A single course can be used to complete a major requirement, and a teachable, which is very important to know. You will probably want to be in conversation with Student Central around some of these things. Specializations and concentrations refer to your program requirements in the academic calendar and see what you need to take in what semester. And a discipline is unique to the interdisciplinary studies program. So that's some quick lingo. If that applies to you, hopefully that gave you a little bit something to go off of. If this is your first time hearing some of those words, you likely aren't doing a teachable or an interdisciplinary studies or anything like that. So don't freak out that this is completely new information. It might not apply to your program. So let's talk a little bit more about the specifics of course registration. So your next steps, you will be receiving an email from Lakehead telling you your date to register for courses. Now, Abby, as a former Lakehead student, if you want to jump in at all here and give your perspective, feel free. If not, I'll just keep going. But you'll receive an email from Lakehead telling you your day for registration. That's a day that you are going to clear off a good chunk of time for yourself to sit down in front of a computer and register. The 2023-2024 timetable for the fall and winter semesters will be posted on June 1st. That would be a great date to throw into your calendar right now. And the day that registration opens for you, you will see a student tab under your My Info, My Services page that will say student. So right now, when you log into My Info, you're probably only seeing a tab that says applicant. On your registration day, you're going to see a tab that says student, which will be really exciting. You'll click on that and it'll take you to a page called Build My Pre-Registration. And this is what you're going to be registering through. You can register for both the fall and winter semesters before the school year begins, which is super awesome if you're needing to plan around a job schedule or family obligations. You can plan the whole year out at once, which is, again, amazing. On your My Info account, you will find a ton of different linked resources to tutorial videos on how to do registration. If you go onto our Student Central website, you'll find a ton of different tutorials and resources on how to do registration. If you reach out to Student Central, they will help you with registration. There are lots of opportunities to get assistance, whether it be from watching something, reading something, or talking to a person. But just know if registration is something that is intimidating for you or something you're worried about, which is completely understandable coming into first year, know that resources are available to you and you don't have to struggle with it by yourself. We've all been there, and it's always better to ask a question if you don't know, right? Speaking of that, we have Fast Pass sessions coming up. Fast Pass is kind of like our pre-orientation orientation, where we talk about things like registering for courses, like all things kind of Lakehead that you need to set yourself up for success as a first year student. And like I said, there's that video guide series through Student Central, which you'll want to be checking out. That was a lot of information. Abby, are there any questions that we should answer as a group? Don't see too many in the Q&A right now, so we might be okay to go ahead.
Yeah, if you want to just finish your presentation, there are 2 questions that we can answer live.
Perfect.
Yeah, so we'll keep going, and then we'll answer all the questions at the end. So
Perfect.
if you have any questions, I
Forward
really
stretch.
highly encourage you to ask now, because we are going to be ending the session right at 7 o'clock. So if you have any kind of last minute burning questions, please ask them before 7 o'clock.
Awesome, thank you. So as I said, in our last session, we're kind of going month by month. So let's talk a little bit about August. August is going to be one of your busiest months in the lead up to your experience at Lakehead. With August, our work study program applications are going to open. So work study programs are on-campus jobs through campus departments that allow you to work at the university, have a flexible schedule, and have a maximum of 10 hours a week of on the job. What's really awesome about this is our work study programs understand that, number one, you are a student and we work with your schedule to make sure your work duties are not the priority, but your academics are. So we really work with you on making a flexible schedule, making sure you have a good amount of hours, not a crazy amount of hours. And because you're working for part of the university, you're also gaining a lot of valuable experience and resume building skills that you wouldn't necessarily get at another part-time job outside of the work study program. So in August, those applications will open up. On August 15th, like I mentioned earlier, the My Awards portal will open up. I've been speaking too much today. As well as in August, Field School will begin. So Field School will be for programs like natural resource management, environmental studies, that kind of stuff. And your Field School will begin likely in August. Again, this will be information that you will have already been sent or that you should already know. So if you haven't heard of Field School whatsoever for your program, don't panic. It's probably not part of your program. But if it might be, probably check your admissions offer. And orientation registration also opens up in August. Orientation, again, is one of those things I recommend to all students, whether you're living on campus or not. It's a really great way to get to know the resources available to you at the university, where things are, how things work, all of that good stuff, so that when your classes start, you aren't trying to figure out all of those things, as well as all of your academic material. You gotta dedicate some time in orientation to making sure you are all set up and that you are oriented with the university. Work study program we kind of already touched on, max 10 hours a week, work around your schedule. I didn't give examples, so let's pause here for a second. Examples of work study jobs could be things like tour guides, communications assistants, research assistants, lab technicians, information officers, and many more. So again, really recommend applying to a work study program, because as you can see, those are some jobs that you wouldn't necessarily be getting out in the community while you are a university student. These are jobs that could really give you a lot of resume building skills. Here's a great picture from orientation. I believe that's our Thunder Bay campus, just to really show you how much fun it is and what a great thing it is for all students. I mentioned how important it is for orienting you with the university, but I should also mention that's a whole lot of fun. So please try to plan to be there. Let's talk a bit about your next steps. I'm going to throw this back over to Abby. Oh, sorry, Abby. No, I'm not. I'm going to throw it over to you shortly, but let's talk about some important dates. June 5th, the timetable is going to be viewable. August 15th is going to be the deadline to pay the first installment of tuition. August 31st is residence move-in day. And September 5th is the first day of classes, which is super exciting and feels very soon all of a sudden. Transition programs are a super great thing to take advantage of. We run a math boot camp. So if you're a little nervous about your math skills coming into university, that can be a great thing to take advantage of as well too. Abby, I'm now going to throw it to you.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you, Taylor. I'm just finishing up one last question. But when it comes to booking a campus tour, I highly recommend that you book a campus tour if you are truly considering coming to Lakehead, just as it is really beneficial for you to actually come onto campus, see where you actually will be learning, going through the different buildings, seeing the residents. We also offer residence tours for both Thunder Bay and Aurelia, our gym facilities, and etc. So here's a picture again of the Thunder Bay campus. I do want to just kind of warn you that our Thunder Bay campus tour is about 3 hours long. So when you do come, it usually starts about 11 o'clock, ends around 1 or 1:30, and then there's going to be a faculty visit after that if you choose. So a faculty visit means, again, say if you were in engineering, something like that, we would actually set you up one-on-one with an engineering professor or the chair of engineering, where you'll actually get to ask them questions and just kind of chat with them more kind of informally, which is kind of nice, just to kind of, again, build that relationship. And then with the Aurelia campus, because it is a little bit smaller, usually the tours are anywhere between an hour to an hour and a half, or sometimes can be less. So yeah, booking a campus tour, how you're going to do that, you can scan this QR code up at the top right-hand corner, scan that QR code, it's actually going to bring you to our website, or you can just type in, go to our website, lakeheadu.ca, and in the top right-hand corner, there's going to be a little search engine, a little bar there that you can actually type in campus tour. It's going to send you to a link where it's going to get you to sign up for a campus tour. Now, make sure that when you select that you're selecting either Thunder Bay or Aurelia campus, because you wouldn't want to sign up for an Aurelia campus tour if you're planning on coming to Thunder Bay. So just making sure that that's very clear and evident. And then we have about a few questions that we ask you. Do you want a faculty tour? Do you want a residence tour? So it will kind of bring you through a series of questions that you will have to answer. I promise you it takes less than 5 minutes to book a campus tour. And then, obviously you would have to coordinate your flights and whatnot. So I highly recommend it. It's super helpful. And for sure, when I was choosing Lakehead, actually coming to the campus itself really solidified that decision for me, just because I was able to see all the classrooms, the gym facilities, and actually meet with my professors. So highly, highly recommend that. And then we're going to talk a little bit more about booking a virtual meeting with us. So if we haven't answered all your questions today, I fully understand that. But booking a virtual meeting with us through this link here, lakeheadu.ca/admissions/events #coffee. You can also call us, give us a call. Again, scanning that QR code is going to bring up all of our information. So you can email and or call us during our normal work hours, which is Monday to Friday, 8:30 to 4:30. And then also booking a 10 to 8 meeting with us. But other than that, that's pretty much it. We have a couple more minutes just to answer and tidy up any of those last remaining questions, but getting social with us is super important. So following our social medias, our Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube is going to be really beneficial for you as a student to kind of see what's going on, not only on the day-to-day daily campus stuff, but also the upcoming events, the upcoming deadlines, such as entrance scholarships. But then it's also going to give you information daily about what you can expect for the fall, what you can expect for the events over the summertime. And it's just a really good way to get involved, get, build that sense of community almost, if you will. Other than that, I highly recommend you, follow us on our Instagram. It's always fun. We're posting daily and it's really, really great. So I think that's good. I think that's it. I think we've come to our end of our presentation. Thank you so much, Taylor, for kind of tackling that presentation as I've been behind the scenes, kind of answering some of those questions. And I appreciate all of you for coming and popping on here today just to chat with us. So we wanted to thank you, and I will leave the the Q&A box open for a little bit while longer, but other than that, I appreciate it. Thank you for coming, and I'll let Taylor say thanks.
Yeah, thank you again, everyone. Thank you for keeping Abby and myself busy with all of your awesome questions. And again, if you have any questions, you can reach out to any of our recruitment team or Abby or myself, and we can get you that answer. I'm just going to flick back to the slide quickly. Abby said this, but again, if you scan that QR code, you can book a one-on-one email. You can book a one-on-one meeting with any of our recruitment team. Thanks again for coming. If your question hasn't been answered, Abby and I are going to hang out for probably about 5 more minutes and answer questions. But this is the end of our formal programming. So thanks and have a great night. And we'll see you on campus in September. Take care, everybody.